Today, I will show you 5 professional behaviors that make clients think I can't afford to lose that person. And honestly, many of these things don't just apply to marketing. They apply to anyone who wants to build a strong career, earn well, and be respected for their work. What gives me the credibility to talk about this? My name is Marina Vaskina. If you don't know me, maybe a friend sent you this video. I've spent over 20 years in marketing, leading campaigns for Samsung, Johnson & Johnson, and Anheuser-Busch InBev, building e-commerce businesses from 0 to 8 figures, and now running my own consultancy. And I've been on both sides of the table, the marketer fighting for bigger projects and the director deciding who stays and who gets cut. And here is what I've learned. The real growth of a marketer is not about taking on more clients, because how many more clients you can take, you can easily burn out. It's about creating solutions that raise your value, the kind of value businesses are willing to pay premium rates for. And while the market is full of competition among low-level specialists doing the same things, just posting, there is almost no competition among truly skilled professionals. So today we're going to talk about what actually separates those two groups. Stick with me till the end, as I will share the insight that makes clients never question your value again. Skill number 1. The format of communication you use determines the perceived value. Here is the truth. The way you present information often determines how your client perceives your expertise. If your client has to dig through endless spreadsheets just to understand what you did, you've already lost 50% of the perceived value. Make it effortless for your client to see the value. That means any information you send their way should be easy to read, quick to interpret, and directly tied to results. You can build a brilliant content plan, but if you send it as a 50-row Excel sheet, they open it on their phone, they see a wall of tiny text and numbers, they close it and they think, oh, that's too complicated, I will look at it later, and they never do. And the feel is for them, oh, there is lots of work done, but where is the value? What I'm actually paying for? So first, when clients view your materials, they should instantly see, first, the goal of each content piece and how it fits into the big strategy. They should see a plan on the strategic level, not just like 5 exercises for stronger abs. Here is what professionals do. They create a table that shows the strategy level overview, right? Make it visual, make it clear, export it as PDF, not Excel, because most clients, they check everything from their phones. And when they see you've structured it like a strategist, and especially when you present and defend your plan confidently, you instantly look more professional. And same logic with weekly and monthly reports. Your job is not to dump numbers. Your job is to deliver meaning. So please don't send 10 screenshots full of clicks and reach. Many agencies do that. Just send a short summary with only the key metrics you agreed on at the start of the project and clear insights connecting the dots for your client. So you identify which numbers actually moved the business forward, explain why they changed, and propose what's next. And this changes everything because communication becomes faster, you gain more respect, and it directly impacts your rates and career growth. Because when clients understand your work, they trust you. And trusted marketers don't have to justify their fees. Skill number 2. When something breaks, bring solutions, not problems. Problems happen, and every week and every account, a campaign slows down, an ad stops converting, Sometimes a hypothesis doesn't deliver the results you expected. That's part of life, that's part of the game. But what separates professionals from everyone else is how you respond when things go wrong. So, first of all, please never wait until they notice your client. If you see performance slipping, take initiative. Be the first to raise it. The moment a client has to chase you for answers, trust is gone. Your job is always to stay one step ahead. So when you bring it up, you don't sound like a scared intern reporting bad news, please. Just sound like a strategist diagnosing a situation. Don't say, our campaign is not working. Say, yes, the engagement dropped after week 3, and here are 3 possible ways to fix it. You see the difference? You didn't just bring the problem, you brought solutions, you brought leadership, and of course, always bring 2-3 solutions, because a true professional never shows up empty-handed. And if something is not working, come prepared with options. When you do this, you demonstrate the exact skill every founder values most: problem solving. That's what they pay for. Here is what I want you to remember. Business owners don't pay for tasks. They pay for clarity and control, for someone who can look at this chaos, organize it, and say, here is what's happening, here is what we will do, and here is my plan moving forward. That's what makes you really irreplaceable in that situation. Skill number 3, strategists speak in numbers, not feelings. Here is the reality. Business owners often make judgment based on feelings rather than data, and not because they're emotional, but because they are inside the business, and every day they deal with cash flow, customer complaints, operations. So when something feels off, that's what they lead with usually. And you may hear things like, oh, I have a feeling we're spending more, but sales are not growing, or it feels like the ads stopped working. And if you don't know your numbers cold, you will get pulled into that feeling-based conversation and lose credibility fast. Let me show you what I mean. I will give you an example. One of my biggest clients came into the meeting convinced that they had a problem. They wanted to scale, they wanted to increase their market share, but felt like they were not growing fast enough despite spending more. So of course I came to that meeting prepared. I already knew every number, and when they expressed their concern, I didn't hesitate. I walked them through all the numbers, and sales actually grew by 30% year over year, and we had strong performance. But their ad spend ratio, that's exactly was the same as previous year, which meant the plateau was not a performance problem, it was a scaling problem, and they wanted faster growth without increasing investment. So I looked at them and said, if we want to grow faster than last year, we can't expect to do it on last year's budget. And that moment changed the entire tone of conversation, because I was not defending, I was not scrambling to pull data. I was leading with insight, calmly, confidently, backed by my numbers. I already understood. And that's what knowing your numbers really mean. You don't panic when someone questions your work. You don't guess. You see the story behind the data and you explain it in a way that brings clarity. And here is what happens when you don't know your numbers. You get pulled into that feeling-based conversation. You start defending, guessing, over-explaining, and you lose credibility, and trust slips away. But when you can translate numbers in business logic, when you can show a client exactly why something happened and what it means, you stop being a marketing executor. You become a business partner. And that's what business owners need most. Not someone who agrees with their feelings, but someone who can separate perception from reality and guide them with data. Because at the end of the day, they're not paying you to post content or run ads. They're paying you to understand their business and help them make better decisions, make better choices. That's what justifies premium rates. That's what makes you irreplaceable. Skill number 4, master the skill of planning. Please, especially approval planning. Nothing kills trust faster than chaos. If your client wakes up to a message like, oh, hey, just sent you today's post, please approve it before 8:10 a.m., you've already lost a point. That's not fast paced, that's disorganized. And disorganization smells like disrespect. Here is why this matters. When you send last minute approval requests, you're forcing your client to drop everything and work on your timeline. You've turned their schedule into your emergency. And the same logic applies in reverse. If a client has to chase you down asking, weren't you going to send the draft, or when I'm going to get the content for approval, that's also your failure, because now they're wondering if you forgot, if you're behind, if you can actually rely on you. Either way, whether you're rushing them into making them chase you, you're creating unpredictability. And unpredictability destroys trust. And most people think planning is just about staying organized, but it's actually about respect and predictability. And here is what professionals do. From day one, you need to define how your approval process works, how much time you need to prepare creatives, how much time your client gets for feedback, and how much time you need for final edits after revisions. So put it in writing, document it into your onboarding process, not because you need rules, but because professionals think in systems, not emergencies. So when you build this structure into your workflow, something shifts. Your client stops feeling like they're constantly reacting to you. They know what's coming and when, and they can plan their week around your schedule. So that's predictability, and predictability builds trust. And when you respect their time and make their life easier, they respect you, they pay on time, they renew contracts, they refer you. Skill number 5, always try to over-deliver. Do something beyond expectations. There is one simple truth about great marketers. They always give a little more than what was promised. And I don't mean working nights or doing free labor. I'm talking about thinking beyond the checklist. Sometimes extra is what makes it work. And in real projects, things rarely go exactly as planned. You launch a campaign and something doesn't click, and you test a funnel and it's almost there but not quite. And that's when professionals go the extra step. And they say, like, let's try one more version, or let's do one more follow-up message. And that kind of mindset that builds results and loyalty. Like, for example, a client hired me to build their Instagram strategy, and while analyzing their account, their website, I noticed that there is zero SEO optimization. So for me, it was very easy. I just spent 20 minutes and I put 5 quick recommendations they could implement immediately. And that cost me nothing basically, but built massive loyalty, because clients feel when you genuinely care about making it work, not just finishing the task. And that's the difference between delivering service and building trust with your client.